In Brian Sanderson's Way of Kings, we meet many characters, one of which is named Kaladin. Now, Kaladin is what's called a bridgeman, but he also has other attributes, things, abilities that you learn about later as you go, because this book is chunky. We're talking like 1,000 some odd pages. Now, Kaladin was a soldier, Kaladin was a good man, and in the last few chapters of the book, he's offered an option. He's offered the choice between him and his friends' freedom or saving lives. He ultimately chooses to save lives, and in doing so, he activates an ability that he knew he had, but had not been able to use to the fullest extent and had not revealed to his fellow bridgemen that was a thing. The fellow bridgemen saw what Kaladin was doing and they go, "What is he?" One of the others, who was in on the secret and helping to train Kaladin to use Stormlight, which is a plot device in the book, goes, "He's no different. He's the same as he's always been. He is our bridge leader." And then he goes on to an internal monologue that goes, "Stormlight doesn't change you. It just enhances you." Today on Geek Devotions, we're talking about how we as Christians have a similar, not the same, but similar ability or capability as Kaladin. Hello and welcome to Geek Devotions, the show from devoted geeks that are devoted to letting people know that they are loved. I am Celeste, and we are so glad that you have hit play today. Do us a favor, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, share this out for someone you think would enjoy it. We have all kinds of things going on, podcasts, Patreon, all the things. So, let's get into the devotion. Now, if you have not read Way of Kings, and you want to, or you haven't reached the end of Way of Kings, and you are in the middle of this very, very chunky book, beyond here lay spoilers. So, caution. So, like we said in the intro, Kaladin is a bridgeman, and throughout the world building of Way of Kings, we learn of his many talents. He's the son of a doctor who apprenticed to be a doctor. In this world, they call them surgeons. But he was apprenticed. He just lacked a few years of training to be a doctor. He was a soldier. He went into the army to protect someone and had some things that happened that messed him up, and he ended up as a slave. And from a slave, he ended up as a bridgeman. Now, in this world of bridgemen, they carry the bridges so that the army can go to different plateaus. But in this scene, and let me tell you, this scene was epic, he finally accepts the ability to use Stormlight, which again is a pretty big plot device in the book because it is called the Stormlight Archives. That's the name of the series. He accepts it, he uses the full power, he runs up the bridge, jumps, and is spearing enemy with his spear to protect his bridgemen, to protect the army that has been trapped on the other side, to save as many lives as he can. It was absolutely stunning to listen to. It was beautifully well written. Now, we don't necessarily have the need to do such feats of strength. I mean, unless you're going on American Ninja Warrior, which, if you are, kudos to you. But we do have access to something better than Stormlight. We have access to God's Holy Spirit. And while Holy Spirit doesn't change us, He may change our perspectives, He may change our outlooks on things, but ultimately, we are who God created us to be. So He doesn't change our personalities. He doesn't change how we do things. The best example of this is Dallas and I are geeks. Holy Spirit doesn't change that we're geeks, but He uses it. And He uses our weaknesses. Holy Spirit comes in and fills in the gaps of our weaknesses to help those become our strengths. Great example of this is, I am a terrible public speaker. I am so terrified of this. And yet, we're going on almost 7 years of Geek Devotions, doing this, talking to you, because Holy Spirit wants to speak to you using my weakness, by enabling me to use my strengths as a geek, but filling in the gaps of my weakness of talking in public. I still get a little sketchy talking in front of people. I've gotten used to the camera, but you get me in front of people where I can see their face, it's a little scarier. Still working on that. In Galatians, we see them talk about the results of someone allowing Holy Spirit in their lives. And it's interesting because it's not even something like public speaking. It's much simpler than that, even. Galatians 5:22 through 23 says this: "But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such things there is no law." Now, some of these aspects of the fruit, and it is one fruit, all of it is required, are a little harder than others. For me, I struggle with anxiety. So for me, having the fruit of peace, of true peace, is an act of Holy Spirit in my life. Being peaceful and having the wisdom to know when my anxiety is too much and I need help is Holy Spirit working in my life. Maybe you struggle with patience. I struggle with patience. I dislike waiting for things, especially when it's like big stuff. It can be any of these things that you struggle with, because the reality is we are human and we live in a fallen world. To be honest, later today, as I'm driving through traffic, I'm going to be struggling with peace, but Holy Spirit will be there. Holy Spirit will be there and help me to have peace, to show kindness, even though they don't necessarily deserve it, they need it. Holy Spirit can be in every aspect of your life to help you achieve these things that are a natural fruit of having God in your life and having a standard of His righteousness in your life. Now, does the fact that Holy Spirit's in my life and can give me peace, help me with kindness, help me with love, mean that I'm never going to go, ugh, I hate that person, or oh my God, I'm so anxious? No. But it does mean that I know how to access that. It does mean that as soon as I go, Lord, I need some peace right now, He's there for me. Okay, guys, that's your devotion for the week. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to check us out on all the socials, as well as a big shout out to all of our patrons who support us monthly and enable us to do such cool things as this. We are going to be getting the new Pokemon games. We're going to be streaming with them. There's probably going to be reviews. There's going to be all kinds of stuff on these games, and we wouldn't be able to do that without the support of our patrons. Patrons, you may be getting something a little earlier than everyone else. We haven't completely decided that, but we're looking at things. So just, keep an eye on the feeds. Okay, guys, it is time for the question of the week. The question of the week is this: what aspect of the fruit of the Spirit are you struggling with currently? What aspect is God working on you? For me, it's honestly, it is peace. It is that I am anxious often. And while I am dealing with it in appropriate manners, I'm seeing somebody and I'm doing the things that need to be done on a worldly level to help with that, I also am attempting to have more godly peace. To know that when things are going to crap, when it looks like I should be terrified and anxious and just that whole entire feeling of not being okay, that I am okay. Because God's got me. Because He brings His peace. So that's what I'm working on. What are you working on? Leave it in the comments down below. Okay guys, all that being said, stay devoted, peace and love.